Israel is fully prepared for an attack from Iran, and the IDF promises to swiftly counterattack any Iranian move. For its part, Iran is asking Russia for air defense systems in case of war with Israel, and it is also boasting about a new ballistic missile. While Hezbollah leader Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah gives fiery speeches and threats, senior field commanders in his elite Radwan force keep getting assassinated one after the other. Rockets and drones continue to be fired into Galilee, even as the Israeli Air Force continues to strike Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. In the Gaza Strip, the IDF spokesperson's office reveals the true status of Hamas and also announces a new strategy for dealing with the terror tunnels inside the Palestinian enclave. Finally, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, admits that some of its employees participated in terror attacks against Israelis and says that these employees will be fired. This is a war that the Middle East has never seen before, so let's dive into the details. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on the 305th day of the war against Iran and all of its terrorist proxies, including Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, and all the Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria. Israel, Iran, and Hezbollah have been conducting a new type of campaign in recent days. While Iran and its proxies organizations make threats and statements, Israel and the United States are letting their actions speak for them. This includes assassinating terrorist leaders and taking concrete steps to prepare for the possibility of Iran launching kinetic strikes. The healthcare system in Israel, which is always important, but which obviously takes on a much more important role in times of war, has been fortified and improved. The IDF has also been given the green light to target individuals which are known to be particularly dangerous terrorist leaders. American Secretary of State Antony Blinken told the G7 ministers on Monday evening that a retaliatory attack against Israel will probably arrive within 24 to 48 hours. But in Jerusalem, they say that there is uncertainty about the timing of the attack, and we were preparing with the assumption that it could come at any moment. In Israel, great importance is attached to the American assistance in forming a coalition that will work to intercept this attack. The commander of the United States Army Central Command, General Michael Kurilla, arrived in Israel on Monday for meetings with IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. This is Kurilla's 9th visit to the country since the outbreak of the war, while the previous visit was only about 2 weeks ago. His job is to make sure that the international coalition is coordinated and ready for any scenario. The American military has a strategy to intercept as many Iranian weapons as possible in order to minimize the damage to Israel so that Israel will not feel obligated to strike back too hard. This is believed is the best way to avoid a large-scale conflict that would engulf the entire region. While the IDF is making plans to defend against an Iranian attack and then to respond to it, the Israeli public is on high alert. This is the most difficult situation for any army to be in, after having made all the necessary preparations and plans to have to wait for the other side to make the next move. It is difficult for the general public as well, requiring everyone to have patience and stay focused. Of course, the best defense is a good offense, and there have been calls for the IDF to stop waiting for Iran and Hezbollah to strike and hit them first instead. In the last few days, the IDF has indeed hit several Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon, including preemptive strikes on warehouses filled with rockets and UAVs, launch sites for rockets, and individual terrorist leaders. At the same time, constant assessments are underway, examining intelligence reports and surveillance information, all aimed at determining when and where the main enemy effort will come. One scenario which is being considered is an actual ground invasion of Israeli territory by Hezbollah's Radwan force, or possibly other militias from Syria and even Iraq. Other possibilities include an attack on Eilat, either by missiles fired from Yemen and Iraq, or possibly even terrorist infiltration from the Egyptian Sinai Peninsula. Another potential target of Hezbollah's rocket and missile arsenal is the natural gas platforms that Israel has built in the Mediterranean Sea. Saltwater distillation plants, oil refineries, IDF bases, power plants, and airports are also considered to be high-value targets that Hezbollah would like to try and hit. But we know that civilian population centers are also on their list of targets because they've said so publicly. However, Israel's military and emergency response services have been preparing and training for these kinds of events for years, and there are plans to hit back at Hezbollah with tremendous power. But Israel is not underestimating the Iranian threat. Yesterday, Iran unveiled the fourth generation of the Kurdishar ballistic missile under the name Kiver. This is a missile with a range of 2,000 kilometers and a warhead weighing 1,500 kilograms. The most important thing to know about this missile is that it is capable of precision strikes and can be guided to its target by the operators even while it is in flight, even outside of the atmosphere. This makes it completely immune to cyber attacks. Another area of great concern to Israel is the deepening alliance between Iran and Russia. The New York Times reported on Monday evening that Tehran has asked Moscow for advanced air defense systems in anticipation of a war with Israel. Sources quoted in the report said that the deliveries of radar and interception systems have already begun. This report comes as Russia's National Security Advisor Sergei Shoigu arrived in Tehran on Monday for meetings with Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian. Shoigu told his host that we are ready for full cooperation with Iran on regional issues. However, Iran's foreign ministry said on Monday morning that the Islamic Republic is not interested in a regional escalation, but added that the Ayatollah regime believes that Israel should be punished for the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. The statement added that Iran is planning to do this as a favor for the entire region because it believes that this punishment of Israel's aggression will restore stability to the Middle East. To make a brief comment, Iran itself is the source of most of the instability in the Middle East, and everyone knows it. Their attempt to present themselves as the defender of the region against Israeli and American aggression doesn't fool anyone. Getting back to the news, Western intelligence sources have described Moscow-Tehran relations as a deepening strategic partnership. The expansion of the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 was a major factor that greatly contributed to the formation of this partnership due to the dependence that Russia developed on Iranian weapons and ammunition as the war continued much longer than Moscow had planned for. This is a dramatic shift in the dynamics of the historic relationship between Russia and Iran. Russia has historically been the stronger side, supplying weapons to Iran and in many ways exerting strong influence over it, particularly in the area of oil production and export. However, today Iran is emerging as an equal partner with Russia, able to set conditions that include technological transfers in exchange for cooperation in weapons developments and favorable trade terms in the energy sector. Russia has even taken the extraordinary step of opening up a factory to produce Iranian-designed UAVs in the Republic of Tatarstan with the support and assistance of Tehran. Joint production of satellites and other space-related technology is also in the pipeline, as well as various other systems for use in the battlefield. Here at TBN Israel, we will continue to report on these issues because we know how important it is for you to stay updated on the latest developments in Israel and the Middle East. You can help even more people stay informed by sharing these YouTube videos, subscribing to this channel, and following us on social media. Just do a search for TBN Israel on all of your favorite social media platforms and subscribe to us on these channels. This is how you can help us spread the truth. Switching our focus to the battle against Hezbollah, the terrorist Ali Jamal el-Din Jawad is the latest Radwan Force field commander to be eliminated by the IDF in Lebanon. His rank in the organization was equivalent to lieutenant colonel, and he was an important figure in the organizational structure of Hezbollah. The IDF assesses that the elimination of terrorist leaders causes great damage to these organizations' ability to function and threaten Israel. In related news, a barrage of 12 rockets was fired into the Upper Galilee overnight on Monday and into Tuesday morning, causing no damage or casualties. However, a separate barrage wounded 2 Israeli civilians, one seriously. The IDF responded with strikes on Hezbollah weapons depots in the area of Kfar Kila in southern Lebanon. Here at TBN Israel, we will continue to update you on developments. So stay tuned to the truth about Israel on our channel and tune in often, because in the event of an emergency in Israel, we will live stream our reports in real time. So take a minute and press the follow button and subscribe so that you can stay updated in real time on the truth of what is happening in Israel. Switching our focus once again to the battle against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Overnight Monday, Muhammad Mahasna, who served as a senior operations officer in charge of smuggling weapons into the Gaza Strip, was eliminated by an IDF airstrike. His efforts to smuggle weapons and ammunition were mostly concentrated in underground tunnels running under the border between Egypt and the Gaza Strip, but also included maritime shipments. IDF soldiers reported several other engagements in the past 24 hours, leading to the elimination of dozens of terrorists. Once again, some of these engagements took place against terrorist squads that were operating out of schools and other civilian infrastructure in the Gaza Strip. The IDF, the Shin Bet, and the Southern Command have all warned that Hamas continues to use Gazan civilians as human shields and fires on IDF troops from civilian buildings. A notable Hamas operative eliminated while in the process of directing operations against IDF troops from within the area of the Hassan Salma school in the Gaza City on Monday was Jaber Aziz, who served as the commander of the El Farkan battalion. He was one of the few surviving members of Hamas who is confirmed to have taken part in the planning and training of the October 7 massacres. Elsewhere in the Gaza Strip, the IDF is continuing to flush out terrorist leaders by cutting off the supply of water, electricity, and oxygen to the tunnels where they are hiding. Some have surrendered, telling their interrogators that they never expected that the IDF will respond so strongly to the October 7th massacres. Other sources in Hamas told the El Sharak El Awsat newspaper on Monday that the IDF's activity against the tunnels caused many senior officials to try and escape, but many of them have already been eliminated. They also said that some of the remaining Israeli hostages that were previously being held by these senior Hamas officers have been handed over to custody of more junior officers. It must be added, however, that whenever a Hamas operative, whether he's a junior field commander or a lowly foot soldier, tries to emerge from the tunnels, he instantly exposes his position and the IDF will see him, fire at him, and eliminate his location. So please continue to spread the truth, share our videos on YouTube and on social media, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can take an active part in supporting us by donating through the link that you see at the bottom of the screen, and we will continue to bring you current and detailed content about what is happening in Israel. Our final story today comes from the United Nations, which announced on Monday that 9 UNRWA employees will be fired for the roles they play in the October 7 massacre. The Office of Internal Oversight Services, OIOS, has completed its investigation into 19 regional staff members of the United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, regarding allegations of their involvement in Black Sabbath on October 7th. The OIOS investigation concluded with findings regarding each of the 19 staff members of UNRWA who were alleged to have been involved in the attacks. In one case, no evidence was obtained by the OIOS to support the claims of the staff members' involvement, while in 9 other cases, the evidence obtained was not sufficient to support the staff members' involvement. The investigators declared, however, that in relation to these 10 cases, the measures will be taken in due course, in accordance with the regulations and rules of UNRWA. The UNRWA spokesman admitted that the United Nations investigation indicates that the agency's employees may have been involved in 9 cases.
In respect of the remaining 9 cases, the evidence obtained by OIOS indicated that the UNRWA staff members may have been involved in the armed attacks of the 7th of October 2023. The employment of these individuals will be terminated in the interests of the agency.
As you may remember, UNRWA is facing unprecedented challenges and is on the verge of bankruptcy due to a deficit that is growing at the same time as many donors are ceasing their support, as was published in the Lebanese newspaper El Naswar. My comment on all of this is that UNRWA cannot deny that it knew it was employing terrorists from Hamas, a designated terrorist organization whose charter claims that peace will only be possible when Israel is destroyed. This organization controlled 24 out of 26 leadership positions in the UNRWA Workers' Union, and at least 10% of the aid agency's workers were members of Hamas. More than 100 of them have been proven to have participated in the October 7th massacre. I want to conclude with some summarizing comments. Israel has no border with Iran or Yemen. The conflict on the border with Lebanon is not our choice, but theirs. The excuse that these other countries are attacking Israel in support of the Palestinians is deeply dishonest, because none of these entities supports the efforts that have been made by Western powers to forge a peace agreement, or even the notorious two-state solution. On the contrary, Iran has financed and will continue to finance any Palestinian faction that seeks to sabotage any attempt to reach an agreement with Israel. Iran also finances elements in Western countries that pressure their governments to cease support for Israel. This includes street demonstrations where clueless university students chant "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," and other mindless slogans that they barely understand. So please, now, more than ever, pray for Israel. Pray for the truth. Pray for the civilians that are affected by this situation. Pray for the safety of the abductees, the hostages in Gaza, that they will be returned and reunited with their loved ones. And please join us in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.